Hello, everyone. I warmly welcome and thank you for joining me through this particular session. We would be starting out our Python journey for the data science, right? Before commencing the session, I would like to make few things clear. Like I would like to mention few things, and those are like what are the prerequisites required in order to join me for this data science journey or for learning this Python. To be more specifically, I'm talking about this particular Python playlist itself. So to join this particular Python playlist, you require certain prerequisites, and those prerequisites are like basic understanding of basic understanding of English language you require. Okay, basic understanding of English language you require. That is the first prerequisite. And the second one is like you should have idea of maybe sixth, seventh standard mathematics. Okay, sixth, seventh standard mathematics you require. Okay, maths. Okay. The another thing is like you should know how to use internet. Like basic internet usability you should be aware of. Okay, like how can you make the use of internet to learn Python, right? Or maybe to learn the other data science stuffs. Okay, another thing is like last but not the least, you required a little bit of common sense. That's all. These are the only prerequisites which you require to begin your data science journey with me. Okay, so now let me start the session. Okay, firstly, I'll be discussing about history of Python. History of Python. Here, I'll definitely explain like how the idea of developing Python came into the mind of the father of Python, which is none other than Guido van Rossum. Okay, so let's go back into maybe 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Okay, so then we'll try to understand behind the scenes related to Python. Like Guido van Rossum, he was working at CWI. Okay, it's a national research institution which is there in Netherlands, right? So he was working for CWI, right? Guido van Rossum. Basically, he was hired for a project that is ABC. He was hired for this ABC project over there. So there, along with his team, he worked for around 3.5 years, right? But the team as a whole, they were not as a team, they were not able to popularize this ABC project, or basically this was a programming language, right? They were not able to popularize this ABC programming language. So what the management did, they transferred Guido van Rossum to some other project, and the name of that particular project was Distributed Operating System, right? So he was transferred to this particular project. Okay, now here, primarily they were they were bound, or like you can say they were using C as a programming language. And in case of C, we have very less support of the libraries. So in order to perform the computational task, or in order to write down the code, so that this particular project may work well, you know they had to like write uh, quite large, I mean, so many number of lines of code they had to write. So many number of lines of code they had to write. So Guido van Rossum was thinking like, why we should write so many number of lines of code, right? Isn't it possible like the same computational task which is to be done over here in this distributed OS project, uh, can't it be done in fewer number of lines of code by using any other programming language? So he deliberately thought of using ABC as a programming language, right? In order to perform the computational task for this particular distributed operating system project. But that wasn't a good choice. That wasn't a good move, right? So later he had to shift to some other programming language, right? So he thought like, uh, can he use Perl as a programming language? This was even the worst option he thought for, right? So as an alternative to Perl, as an alternative to Perl, he thought of creating such a programming language which would be able to perform those tasks which this C language was performing in case of this distributed operating system. So he wanted to create such a programming language which could perform the computational tasks related to this distributed operating system, right? Like how you can say, I mean, like this, you can say the idea of creating the Python came into the mind of Guido van Rossum, who is also known as the father of Python. So what he did, he utilized his Christmas holidays. He utilized his Christmas holidays and started working upon uh, creating this Python, right? And also, I would like to add on one more thing over here, that he took the help of his office colleagues and his friends as well. They tried to help him out. They tried to provide him reviews. They tried to help him about certain enhancements which could be made into this programming language. So likewise, he developed the Python in the year 1989, right? But this was not the final call, right? Still, there were so many of the enhancements which were pending. There were so many of the functionalities which could be improved. So they officially released Python on 20th Feb 1991 after doing certain enhancements into it. Okay, after making certain changes, after getting reviews from the people, and then again working over those reviews, and finally they released Python into the market on 20th February 1991. So this was whole about the history of the Python. If you just want to if you just want to know about this history of Python in quite detail, so there is a documentary which is available on YouTube. You can watch it over there, right? There, all of his colleagues, I mean, all the colleagues of his of Guido van Rossum and maybe some of his friends are there. They are explaining in quite detailed manner, like how uh, Python was developed or how it was created, and how the idea of developing Python came, and how Python got evolved, right? How Python got evolved. Okay, so and later and rest, it's the history. The rest is the history in case of Python. It's doing great in almost each and every field these days, right? uh, you know it's definitely a good choice to learn Python as a first programming language these days. It's definitely a good choice, right, to learn Python as a first programming language. I'll explain like why this is the first choice. uh, I mean, why it's an excellent choice to learn Python as a first programming language. Before that, let me clear one misconception related to the Python, and that particular misconception is related to its name. Like people do think that Python's name has been taken from that large snake, which is not true at all. The name of the Python has not been taken from this snake, right? In fact, uh, it has been taken from a show which used to get which used to get broadcasted through BBC channel. And the name of that particular show was, maybe it used to get broadcasted in 1970s. I'm not sure of it, right, the exact date or the exact time period. Okay, maybe in the 1970s it was a quite popular uh, TV show which used to get broadcasted through this BBC, and the name of that particular show was Monty Python's Flying Circus. This was the name of that particular show. And Guido Van Rossum got, maybe he got inspired from this particular show, and he kept the name of his programming language, which he was creating, as Python, by getting inspired from this particular show. Okay, so that was the misconception which I have just cleared, right? Which is among the people, like they do often think that Python has been taken from the name Python has been taken from the name of this snake, right? That's not true at all. I have explained it over here. Okay, now I would like to explain like why one should choose Python as his first programming language, or you can say why Python is an excellent choice, right? For learning, for entering into the coding field, you may say, right? See, Python is very much simple, right? As in the beginning itself, I have told you, like you should have a basic idea of maybe sixth, seventh standard mathematics, right? A basic English knowledge you should have, right? If you have these kind of these piece of knowledge, if you have this piece of knowledge, you can definitely start learning Python, right? Without any of the fear, right? It's simple. Its code is easy to understand, right? Its syntax is easy. Definitely you can start learning Python. And even I'll just compare to display I mean I'll compare with the help of one code, like I'll be coding for the same stuff in Java and in Python as well, and then I'll try to compare how easy Python is, like how easier it is for anyone to write down the code in the Python. Okay. Before that, I would like to say one more thing. Like, even if you have coding experience, or you don't have coding experience, or you are from technical background, or you are not from technical background, right? Still, you can learn Python, right? If you are from technical background, it's good, right? Uh, it may help out in at certain places. But if you are not good at technical concepts, don't worry. I'll explain each and everything from completely scratch. If you have worked using any of the other programming languages in the past, it's good. And even if you don't have worked, it's even good. Why I'm saying it's even good? Because there will be less confusions, right? Definitely. So now let me explain, like, with the help of the Java code, how it will be easy for you, right? I mean, with the help of Java code and with the help of the Python code, I'll be explaining, like, I'll try to compare. Okay, like which one is easy for you, you have to decide by yourself. Okay, now see, if I just want to display out a message, say that message is hello Satvinder Singh. This is the message which I just want to display out. Okay, so if you were to display out this particular output, this particular message with the help of the Java code, you would write like that: class A, then this curly bracket, and here you would write public, right? Then you would write here static, and then you would write here void, and then you would write here main, and here string array args, and this curly bracket, and here you would write system dot out dot println, and here you would enclose your message in the double quotes. Okay, that is hello Satvinder Singh. Hello Satvinder Singh. That is the message which you just want to display out. And here I'll append one semicolon, curly bracket over here, and curly bracket over here. So these these many number of lines of code you have to write down if you just want to display out this hello Satvinder Singh message using the Java code. Now, in contrast to this, if you will take the help of the Python code in order to display out this particular message over the console, then the code would be simply like you would write print either in the single quotes or in the double quotes or maybe in the triple quotes as well. You would simply write here hello Satvinder Singh. Okay, that's all. See here, you can compare. In case of Java, you use these many number of lines, but in case of Python, you are using only one instruction and you are able to get the desired output. Let me do it practically as well. Let me open the Google Colab over here. So what exactly this Google Colab is? This is a platform where we would be writing down our code throughout our data science journey. Okay. So simply you can open your favorite browser and simply type Google Colab over there. And whatever be the first appropriate link for that, you can click over that and you can sign in for this and this particular interface would get displayed out and you can start writing down the code over here. Okay. So directly I'm writing over here now. Okay. I'm not going into that much of the depth of what exactly Google Colab is. Okay. So here I'll display out the message like hello Satvinder Singh. This is the message which I'll be displaying out. Now I'll click over this particular icon and I'll execute this. Execute means to run the code. Okay. So you can clearly check it out over here that I have got this hello Satvinder Singh as an output. I was willing to get this output, right? So I have got it just with the help of this particular instruction which I have highlighted over here. Now, same stuff if you just want to get with the help of the Java code, for that also I'll be doing here practical. Let me create a document over here. Okay, and here I'll be writing the I'll write down the code. See, class, okay, class A. Now see, uh, here I'll be writing this public static void main. Okay, let me, yeah, okay, and here I'll write these curly brackets. Okay, oh sorry, these round brackets, and here I'll write string array args. Okay, and here I'll write down that particular instruction, that is system dot out dot println, and here I'll write down that particular message. I'll enclose it in the double quotes. In the double quotes, that is hello. The message is hello Satvinder Singh, right? This is the message which I just want to uh, display out. Okay, yeah. So now I'll be saving this particular file as a.java. Control Shift S I did a.java. Now I'll press enter over here and now I'll directly go to the CMD in order to execute this particular code. Okay, firstly I'll compile it and I'll compile the Java code using this particular command, that is javac a.java. So A is file name over here. Okay, now when this particular command would get executed, you would clearly see a dot class file would get generated over here. Okay, now I am entering it and you can clearly see that a dot class file, that is a dot class, it got generated, and this is the compiled code in case of Java. Now I have to execute this compiled file. Okay, for that I'll be writing java a, and you can clearly see I have got the desired output. See, a lot of stuff I have done over here, then I'm able to get this desired output. However, in case of Python, directly I was able to get the desired output after writing down just this particular single instruction. Now you can compare how easy Python is as compared to Java. Like, it's not that I'm saying Java is not good. Okay, each and every of the coding, or you can say the programming language, has its own pros and cons. Okay, each programming language has its own pros and cons. Okay, Java is very much suitable wherever security is required, wherever security is concerned, right? Like in the case of banking applications. Okay, Java is definitely the best choice over here. But Python is best choice in the case of data analytics, in the case of data science, in the case of data engineering, in the case of big data, in the case of artificial intelligence, in the case of machine learning and other related fields wherever Python could be used, right? So it's not like that uh, everywhere we would be using Java. Or everywhere we would be using Python. It depends upon the situation. It depends upon the scenarios. It depends upon the field. It depends upon the real life business problem, like what type of business problem is, and whether it could be solved with the help of whether it could be solved with the help of this Java, or whether it could be solved with the help of this Python. Okay, so like why Python is preferred the most in the case of data science, data analysis, machine learning, artificial intelligence. I'll be explaining it over here. As the first aspect of the Python being easy, I have explained, like we have to write fewer number of lines of code, right? Another aspect is that Python provides a library support rich library support. That is why it is preferred the most in case of data science and other related fields. Now, what is this library? Although I'll explain what exactly library is, what is module, these all things I'll explain later on in the upcoming sessions. For the time being, just understand it in this way, like library is like where we have some pre-written code, where we have some pre-written code, and we can make the use of this pre-written code wherever we are using Python. So that is why in the case of uh, data related fields, Python is preferred the most, because maybe like definitely Python has around 1 lakh plus 1 lakh plus libraries available, right? See how rich library support Python provides, and this number is surely gonna increase in the future, right? Maybe there could be 2 lakh plus library support provided by the Python. So it means there is a large, or you can say an ample amount of pre-written code in case of Python. So there is less burden on the programmer, on the coder. So definitely this would be the better choice in case of the machine learning fields. We have certain libraries related to the data science field, related to the machine learning, data analysis, and all. Like we have libraries like NumPy, like we have Pandas, we have Seaborn, right? We have Matplotlib, right? Likewise, we have certain number of library support available in case of Python. That is why this is the best choice in case of, in when we talk in context to data fields like data scientist, artificial intelligence, or maybe in machine learning, and like in IoT, or maybe in LLMs as well, like large learning, these large language models, LLMs also, right? In this case also Python is used. Okay, there could be certain other applications as well, right? So as of now, as I have discussed the simplicity of the Python, right, the pros and cons of the Python, right, and in case of Java, I would like to tell you, like uh, rich library support is not available. That is why it's not preferred in case of data related things. However, it is very much secure. Okay, when I'll be uploading the lectures, the sessions related to Java, I'll explain it over there. Like I'll explain in great detail like how Java is secure. Okay. Wherever security is concerned, Java is preferred. Wherever data is there, data related things are there. Like we require certain mathematical, certain rich, or you can say certain complex mathematical problems are there. Certain problems related to like calculus are there, right? Problems related to probability, problems related to statistics, problems related to linear algebra are there. Then we would opt Python and its libraries for the sake of the simplicity. Okay, for the sake of our easiness, we would go with Python. Okay, next now I would like to explain the definition part of the Python, and that definition for the Python is, I mean, if interviewer asks you what exactly Python is, so how you gonna answer? You would say like Python is general purpose, high level, object oriented, and interpreted programming language. Let me write it down over here. Python is general purpose. It is general purpose. Okay, it is general purpose. High level. It is general purpose, high level, object oriented. It is general purpose, high level, object oriented, interpreted programming language. Programming language. So now if we cross questions like what do you mean by Python being general purpose? We have to explain this also. So before explaining you about what is meant by this general purpose, let me explain you about what do you mean, I mean, what is meant by this domain specific programming languages. So domain specific programming languages are, or domain specific languages are those languages which are bound to any of the specific field. They are bound to any of the specific area. I mean, their usability is bound in, I mean, their usability is bound to some area, like they could be used only in that particular field or only in that particular domain itself, right? For example, like SQL, we have structured query language, we have, it can only be used in the case of databases related computational tasks, right? It can't be used, I mean, it's never preferred, or it in other cases it's always used in the case of databases related stuff. But this is not true in the case of Python, right? Python can be used in many of the fields. Like it can be used in the case of application development. If you're developing any kind of application, Python can even be used over there, right? No matter it's GUI application, graphical user interface application developments, like maybe it could be desktop application development or it's web application development. Python can be used over there as well, right? So it can even be used in case of IoT, like Internet of Things, and it can be used in case of machine learning, artificial intelligence, data analysis, data science, right? Data engineering and big data. And there could be certain other fields as well where definitely we can make the use of Python. So Python in general we can use almost everywhere, right? So that is why Python is known as a general purpose programming language. It's not domain specific. The area for the usability of the Python is not fixed, right? It is generalized. Okay, it can be used in certain fields. Okay, now I would explain you what exactly this high level means, or Python being high level, what is meant by that. Okay, so before explaining this high level, let me explain you about what is meant by, or what are the low level programming languages. See, low level programming languages are those particular programming languages, or you can say those coding languages which are close to the hardware, which are close to the hardware, and as a result of this they are the fastest ones also, right? They are among the fastest ones. Okay, they are close to the hardware, it means they are easily understandable by the hardware. or you can say by the machines, or you can say by the computers. Okay, so examples for the low level programming languages or the low level languages are like we have binary language, right, which is written in the form of the code for binary language is written in the form of strings of zeros and ones. Okay, and then we have another assembly language in which we write down the code in the form of mnemonics. Okay, so these are the two languages which are low level languages, which are categorized under this low level, which are classified under this low level. Okay, why? Because they are close to the hardware. They are at quite low level. They are at hardware level. That is why they are termed as low level languages. In contrast to this, we have high level programming languages. So, what are these high level programming languages? High level programming languages are those which are far away from the hardware, which are far away from the hardware, or in other words, we can say which are you know closer to the humans, right, which are close to the humans, right, which are easily understandable by the humans. Those particular languages are termed as high level programming languages because they are quite high from the hardware, right, they are closer to the humans, they are closer to us. We can easily understand those particular languages, and we can easily write down the code in case of high level programming language, because it is quite difficult to write down the code in case of the low level programming languages like binary language and assembly language. Okay, so Python is also among those particular programming language which is easily understandable by us, by the humans, and it's quite easier for us to write down the code using the Python language. And with those set of instructions provided using Python, we can have the computational task done right by the computer itself. So that is why Python is also considered as a high level programming language. So two things I have explained, like why Python is general purpose and why Python is high level programming language. Okay, next thing is that why Python is termed as object oriented language, right? Although I would explain this I'll definitely explain this in great detail in the upcoming sessions when I'll be discussing about OOP concepts. Okay, for the time being, just understand that we can do coding around an object whenever it is required. We can do coding around an object in case of Python. So that is why Python is termed as object oriented programming language. So now you would ask, like, what exactly an object is. For the time being, you just understand object is a real world entity. It's any real world entity which has three characteristics. Those characteristics are state, behavior, and identity. Any real life object which has state, which has, I mean, any real life thing, any real life entity which has state, behavior, and identity can be termed as object. And with the help of Python as a programming language, we can do programming around this object in order to solve the real life business problems whenever it is required. So that is why Python is an object oriented, because in case of Python, it's possible to code around an object in order to solve out the real life business problem. Basically, why do we code in order to solve out the real life problems, right? The real life business problems, we segregate them into questions, and further we work upon them in order to find solutions to that. And with the help of Python, we can do that. Okay, that is why I'm saying that I mean, that is why Python is object oriented. Now next we have this Python as interpreted programming language. Okay, this thing I'll explain in great detail when I'll be explaining about features of Python. Okay, for the time being, let us skip it and let us move on to this, like why Python is termed as programming language. It's as simple as that. Like, suppose if you want a computer to perform any computational task for which that particular computer is capable of, like, then you have to give certain instructions to that particular computer. It's not like uh, itself he'll understand you. I mean, itself the computer would understand you, right? It's not like that. You have to give certain set of instructions, right? You have to give certain set of instructions to that computer so that it can understand what exactly you want it to perform. So these set of instructions is collectively known as programs. These set of instructions are collectively known as programs, right? And the language with the help of which you are able to write down these programs are called as programming languages, and Python is one of them. Okay, with the help of Python, we can write down the programs, or in other words, you can say we can write down the set of instructions which are further given to the computer so that it can perform certain computational task. Okay, that is why Python is referred as programming language. What is program? Program is set of instructions given to the computer, and collection of those instruction is known as programs, right? And the language with the help of which we can write the programs are termed as programming languages, and Python is among one of those language with the help of which we can write down the programs. So this is clear, like why Python is called programming language. I'm repeating the definition of the Python which I gave earlier, like what exactly Python is. If interviewer is going to ask you, you would answer it in this way, like Python is a general purpose, high level, interpreted, object oriented programming language. In this way you have to answer it. Okay, now let me discuss about who is basically governing Python these days. So Python is like, it is governed by uh, PSF. It is a non-profitable organization which is maintaining Python these days, and it is freely available. I mean, the software of Python is freely available to download from www.python.org. You can freely download the software of Python from here, and we would start working upon Python. Okay, and you not need to pay anything for this. Like, it is free to use. This software is free to use. You don't need to, you do not need to pay anything for this. It is freely available. You can download it from here. Okay, so that's all about this introductory session for the Python. See you in the next session. Goodbye.